Let's get right into a huge question in the world of finance. What does it really take to be a successful trader? I'll tell you, it's not about some secret formula. It's about building your trading on two fundamental pillars. All right, let's dive in.
First things first, we gotta face a pretty tough reality. Most people who try trading, well, they lose money. So why is that? Is the market just this impossible random beast that you can't beat? Or is there something else going on here?
Here's the thing. A losing trader is fighting two battles at the very same time. You're trying to figure out the market, which, let's be honest, is already incredibly difficult. But you're also fighting a much tougher battle against your own mind. To win, you have to conquer both.
So let's start with that tougher opponent. Pillar number one is all about getting your mind right. It's about understanding the psychological traps. You can almost think of them as the deadly sins of trading that will absolutely wreck even the most perfect strategy.
It all starts with pride. You know the feeling. You have a great trade, a big win, and suddenly you feel like you're on top of the world, like you finally cracked the code. And that feeling is so dangerous. It makes you overconfident. You start to think, I don't need to do my prep today. You bend your own rules, and you assume what worked once is going to work every time. That's usually right before the market decides to teach you a very painful lesson.
So how in the world do you fight something like pride? You have to totally flip what you celebrate. Instead of doing a victory dance for a big win, you should feel that quiet, deep satisfaction when you take a smart loss, a planned loss. Because following your plan to cut a loser short is a huge victory for your discipline. It stops a tiny mistake from turning into an account killer.
Next on the list is greed. Now, look, obviously we're all here to make money. But if your only motivation is just buying more stuff, the fast car, the big house, you're basically setting yourself up to burn out. Staring at charts all day is a grind. And if it's just a job to get more things, you won't have the passion to push through when things get really tough.
The real cure for that kind of greed is to shift your desire. You have to genuinely fall in love with the process of trading. The puzzle of analyzing the charts, the satisfaction of executing your plan perfectly, the fact that you're always learning. The greatest traders aren't just greedy for money, they're greedy for the pure joy of playing the game well.
And then there's wrath. You know, an angry trader is almost always a trader who just lost money. And that anger leads straight into one of the most destructive behaviors there is, revenge trading. You feel like the market stole from you, and you're going to get it back right now. So you get impatient, you force trades that aren't there, you lose more, and then you get even angrier. It is a vicious, account-destroying cycle.
There is only one fix for trading with wrath. You have to walk away. Seriously. Close out your trades, clean up whatever mess you made, and physically get up and leave your desk. Go for a run, watch a movie, do anything but trade. You simply cannot make good decisions when you're seeing red. The market will be here tomorrow. Your account might not be if you let anger drive.
Okay, so once you start getting your head in the right space, you still need an actual concrete method for reading the market. And that brings us to pillar number two, your method. This is all about the how you analyze the charts and find your spots to get in or get out.
Now, if you're new to trading, you've probably been told to load up your screen with a dozen different confusing indicators. But we're going to explore a different path, a much simpler, more fundamental approach that says you really don't need all that clutter.
See, the problem with most indicators is that they lag. They're based on what price has already done. That means they get you into trades late, and they give a ton of false signals. Even worse, the big institutional traders know exactly what those common indicators are telling you to do, which can make you an easy target. Price action, on the other hand, is direct. It's raw. It shows you what's happening right now, based on the oldest rule in economics, supply and demand.
So what is it really? Well, just think of the market as one giant auction that never stops. Price has to move up to find people willing to sell, and it has to move down to find people willing to buy. Those areas on the chart with a ton of leftover sell orders, we call those supply zones. They act like a ceiling. And the areas with a bunch of leftover buy orders are demand zones. They act like a floor. Price just bounces between them.
And this illustrates it perfectly. On the left, you've got that classic graph you probably saw in your Econ 101 class. A bit abstract, right? But then, on the right, you see how those exact same forces leave clear footprints on a real trading chart. This isn't just some dusty old theory. It's the engine that's driving the whole market, and you can literally see it happening.
Okay, but not all of these zones are created equal.
the best, highest probability trades come from what we call strong zones. So, what makes a zone strong? First, it's fresh, meaning price hasn't come back to it yet. Think of it like a full cookie jar. The first one back gets all the cookies. It's also about speed and time. Price shot away from the area really fast and it spent very little time there. That's a huge clue that there was a massive imbalance between buyers and sellers right at that spot.
So we've got pillar 1, your mindset, and pillar 2, your method. But they don't work in isolation. The real magic happens when you understand how these two pillars hold each other up. They're totally connected.
And this is where it all clicks into place. A solid, rules-based method, like trading supply and demand, is the tool you use to keep your emotions in check. When you're feeling greedy and tempted to jump into a random trade, your method gives you structure. It says, nope, there's no valid zone here. When you're angry after a loss and want to get revenge, your method gives you a clear, objective plan for what to do next, taking that raw emotion out of the decision.
So this is what that looks like in the real world. Step 1. You use your method to find a strong, high-probability zone. Step 2, and this is crucial, you use that zone to define exactly where you will get out if you're wrong. You place your stop loss before you even enter the trade. That single act helps you manage pride and fear. And finally, step 3. You've done the work, you have a plan, you just execute without getting emotional about it. You trust the process.
And when you can do that, when you fuse that disciplined mind with a sound method over and over again, that's it. That is the path to consistency, which is really the holy grail for every single trader.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that success isn't hiding in some complicated secret indicator. It's built on these two pillars. You can have the best trading system in the entire world, but if your head isn't on straight, you're going to fail. And you could be the most disciplined person on earth, but without a solid method to read the market, you don't have an edge. You have to have both.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you take a losing trade, stop and ask yourself, did my method fail me? Or did I fail my method? Are you really fighting the charts on your screen, or is the real battle happening right between your ears? The answer to that will tell you exactly which pillar you need to start working on.